session. I'm sure we are all going to learn something interesting around digital content strategy, right? How do you build it? What are the important things that you need to learn about or around content, right? So we'll be learning all those things. I think we'll just give a minute or two for a few more people to join in, and we'll start the session right then. Until then, go ahead and say a quick hello in the chat section. I would love to hear from you guys what you're studying. If you're studying right now, if you're working, tell me what you're pursuing. And of course, I would really like to know what you are looking forward to take away from this session. Okay, so I'm looking at the chat section. Okay. So very important aspect of this session is going to be that this is going to be a dialogue, right? So this will not be a monologue where I'm going on and on and on. I really want this to be back and forth. So the first thing we're going to do is quickly break ice. I really want to hear from you who all is here for this session. And from there, we will start off, right? So we'll just give it a few more seconds till a few more folks join us, and then we'll begin. So the folks at Board Infinity tell me that this is one of the most interactive batches they have. So I know it's a Sunday morning and it's like, oh gosh, I really want to be for this session, but at the same time, my eyes haven't opened up completely. I understand. But then again, get up, get going, and let's start talking because we have some really interesting things to cover. Hi, Munshi. Completed MCA, fantastic. I would love to know, Munshi, why you're here for this session today, what you're looking forward to take away from this session. Okay, so without further ado, please go ahead and keep introducing yourself here in the chat section. Definitely use the chat section to talk to all of us. You can even send a chat to me privately. I will still receive it. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, keep the conversation going. Okay. All right. Once again, really happy to be here to talk about this fantastic topic around marketing, and that is how do you build a digital content strategy. Okay, so to talk to you about all of this, I'm here. I'm Malavika. I am a brand expert. I've been in the industry since 4 years now, and my areas of expertise are building campaigns, building marketing operations, and of course, organic marketing is one of my favorite things to go to. So I'm going to start off with the agenda, right? So I just don't want to give away too much with the pointers that we'll cover, but let's just understand that what we will be focusing on. We'll try to understand, we'll try to plan, and we'll try to see what are the basics of a digital content media. What is digital content? We'll try and understand those basics first, and from there we'll go ahead and build the different aspects that impact a strategy, right? We'll talk about that, and of course we'll test and refine our thoughts, our learnings through a caselet. Okay, so without further ado, I have my first question for you. So I'm really hoping you're on your type your phone ready to type. So my question to you is, what is digital content, right? So think for a few seconds. For a few of you, this question might be like, wow, this is so easy to answer. But for a few of you, you might be thinking, okay, what is this? What is content? So within your own understanding, tell me, what do you think is digital content, right? It can be a word, it can be a phrase, but what do you define digital content as? I'm looking at the chat section. Hi, Paulomi. Paulomi's done her master's in social work. Fantastic. That's a great background to have. Hi, Hiril. Okay, you've studied PGDM in marketing, want to switch into digital marketing as a career option. Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm looking forward. I will not go ahead till I see answers in the chat section. I can promise you that. Really looking forward to an interactive session. Okay. All right. So just to give you hints, is content anything to do with text? Okay. Hiral says it's visual content. Okay. Is it Sanskriti says it's digital content, it's content that, okay, so it's digital data like media. Topics, okay. So we have some spurts and answers and thoughts there. Fantastic. Right. So you're all correct in your own right? Manika says information that is digitally broadcasted. Fair enough. You're all right? So digital content, in very simple words, is everything that you see on the internet, whether it is in the form of text, whether it is in the form of visuals, videos, images, GIFs, right? Whether it is audio, podcasts, music, anything that you go ahead and absorb from the internet is content. That is digital content. And someone out there is sitting there and creating it. Okay. So that is content in very simple words. Divyendra has given a fantastic understanding here. Digital content is any content that exists in the form of, absolutely beautiful. That's pretty much the definition of digital content right there. Now, like we were discussing, why is content so important, right? Now, there are literally 2 million blog posts published every day on the internet. Okay. What does this have to do? Why do we have to know about this number? There is a reason these many blogs are being published. There's a reason why so much content is being generated, right? And the reason is, for any business today to flourish, to thrive, to be noticed by their target audience, they have to focus on building their content strategy. And that's exactly what we will be doing today. Okay. So the first thing I want you guys to understand is your media. Okay. So understand your media. This is slightly technical, but very simple to understand nonetheless. Okay. So you have your earned media, your organic media, as your earned media, owned media, and paid media. Okay. So your earned media, what is that? Now, earned media is almost like a compliment. When you put out content, let's just say you put out a blog which is on top 5 tips for putting together digital content, right? And your blog which you've written on these top 5 tips is so good that Google takes it and they use it as a featured snippet. Sometimes when you type in for a question, you type in a question on Google, you'll see a featured snippet, a box that looks something like this pop up, right? So you see something like that. That is earned media. When others talk about you on the internet, essentially, it's that. It's organic, and it is truly one of the best forms of content availability, right? Now, the second thing is owned media. Now, owned media is literally your presence on all your platforms, right? Your assets, whether it is your social media, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, podcasts. Whenever you talk about yourself or you talk to your community through all these mediums, it comes in the owned media category. And lastly, content is also available in the form of paid media, right? I'm sure we all know what paid media is, but of course, when we pay, a search engine such as Google for Google Ads, or when we pay to social media for example, Instagram ads, when we pay them to put forward, to promote our post, our content, that becomes paid ads or paid media, right? So these are the basic 3 formats in which content is present. And beyond this, we will go ahead and discuss something else that is extremely crucial, that is literally the core of this conversation today. Okay. Again, looking at the chat section, because I really want to know from you guys, what do you think are the factors that impact powerful digital content, right? So again, in simple words, what is it that you feel will eventually impact the success of your content, right? What should you do that whatever you put out there on the internet will work? I literally said that in 3 different ways. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the chat section now. So tell me whatever, in a word, in a phrase, what do you feel? Okay, Hiril says communication. Absolutely. Crisp, clear, and concise communication that directly resonates with your audience is truly a very important success ingredient for your content strategy. Relevant data, absolutely. If you don't know what your target audience wants, if you're not giving them that, then you're really missing the bus, right? What else do we think? Influencing, Soma says. True, because if only you talk about your services, it will only reach so many people. But when others also talk about your services and they recommend them, right? That again adds a lot of credibility and authority to you and your service. What else do we see here? Okay, Mohammed says the content should connect with target audiences. Absolutely. So your content needs to resonate with the people, right? So for example, I work for a company that sells study abroad services, right? So our audience is young aspirational students between the age group of 18 to 25, essentially. So when we want to talk to them, we try to talk imagining ourselves as a young, witty, mature person who's funny, but at the same time likes to give valuable feedback. So we imagine ourselves as that, and then we talk to our customers, right? So that there is a connect, because we know that when somebody from that age group would talk to someone who is of that aura, of that persona, they will relate, right? So these are all fantastic points that you guys have shared. Let's go ahead and look at the few points that we've curated. Some you've already covered. Let's look at them in detail. The first thing I want you to consider is putting together the fundamentals, the foundations of your strategy. Okay, so what do we have here? The first thing we have here is know your content goal. What are we planning to achieve with whatever you are creating, right? So try to understand what is the end objective of the content that is being generated. Okay, so we are talking at a very broad level right now, but try and understand this. When you are working with the branding team, the marketing team, your work will essentially be divided into a variety of campaigns. And when you start working on the content for each of these campaigns, you will realize that their objectives are different. What can the objectives be? It can be generating followers. It could be generating email IDs and phone numbers for maybe your newsletters, right? It could be for generating leads. So you are looking for warm and hot leads. It could also be for multiple other reasons, right? You just want engagement. So all of these reasons are obviously going to be there, but there will be that one reason, or there'll be those two reasons which are your, you know, true content goals, right? So try and understand that before you start putting together any campaign or any strategy. Know your content differentiation factor, CDF. Now, there is so much content out there, right? We are all living in a time and space where competition is cutthroat. So what do? You try and evaluate before you start off. What are your unique selling factors, right? What is differentiating you from your competitors? And from there on, you take that forward. So for example, for maybe a restaurant, their key differentiating factor is, let's just say, their open kitchen. Okay, and they know that for a fact that if they mention it in their content, it will be unique to them. So if you know these are the product specialities, you put them forward within your copies, you put them forward within your graphics, right? So that's another really important aspect. Know your topic areas. Now, really important aspect again, for any brand, for any service that is there out there, people will always look up to you for a certain few things. So that means your spectrum has to be a limited spectrum, right? It has to be those few things. The moment somebody sees your content, or the moment somebody has a need for something, they should immediately think of you, right? So their mind has to be conditioned in that way. So that is another really important aspect of the fundamentals for your content strategy. If I'm boring you guys, if there's something else that you guys are also looking forward to learn, I'm all ears. I'm looking at the chat section. I'm really wanting to learn, hear from you guys, whatever your thoughts are as we go. So no just chilling on the couch today for the next 60 minutes or lesser. I really want to hear from you guys as we talk. Okay. Next important aspect is knowing your audience, right? So very broadly, I put together these 2 points. Now, one is of course your audience research. So what do you do when you start working on your contents? This is especially important if you're working for a product which is new in the market, right? Your brand is new, you don't know who you're selling to exactly. This will come handy. You try and understand through research what your demographic is, what is their buying capacity, how much are they willing to spend on a certain product unit. Important questions to ask. And you evaluate your competitors. There are times when a lot of times people will do mock calls to their competitors and check in. Okay, what's it that you're selling at? I am a customer, possibly. It might not be the most ethical thing, but of course a lot of people out there do that, right? So you want to try and evaluate, you want to read reports and see how the trends have been within the market for the product that you are going to be selling, right? Now the second important aspect that I wanted to cover is to talk about your audience personas. Okay, what do we know about audience persona? I've written a little something there, but go ahead and tell me in the chat section your own definition if you must. But an audience persona is basically when you create an imagery, you create a mock-up of your possible audience, target audience, right? So what that does is it gives you a little more human connect and a lot more insights through a variety of data points as to how you can approach this audience. Okay, so I have a little activity for you guys, but for that you have to be super active. Okay, because I'm going to be constantly looking for your, how do I go back on the screen? 1 second. Yeah, because I'm going to be constantly looking for you guys to share your thoughts here. So we're going to quickly build an audience persona for the following company. Okay, where are we? Okay. Okay, so we have this over here. There's a restaurant. Okay, there's Chiggy is a new restaurant that has opened next to a chain of boys hostels in a tier 2 city. Okay, they are trying to figure out which kind of food they should deliver, how it should be priced, and where they should be promoting it. Okay, so they want your help to understand the audience that they are catering to. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and very quickly with a few data points just for our understanding, build them a simple audience persona. Okay, so tell me in the chat section, what do you think? Will it be a guy that we are catering to or a girl? In majority, of course, there will be everyone coming in, but majority of their audience, what will it be? Guys, because boys hostel, that's right. So lots of fair assumptions will be made right here, right now, right? So we're gonna omit this person and let's just give this person a name. Meanwhile, guys, tell me what is the age group that we are targeting? So if it's a boys hostel, what is the age group? You know, it's male majorly. Okay, 18 to 25, fair enough, because college going students is what we are assuming, majority of them, fair enough. What are the eating habits that we are wanting to observe? Are they are they going to be people who like to eat homemade food, street food? Are they club goers, or are they going to be into dine-ins? Any one or two options that you feel are most closest to this kind of a age group, this kind of a persona? Street food. Okay, okay, let's just say street food, right? Let's just stick to this. Okay, next, what do we have next? So we have social media preferences. What do you think they're interested in? Are they interested in Insta, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn? What are they spending most amount of their time on? 18 to 25. Social media, OTT, absolutely, that's true. And what next do we have? On social media, is there any particular channel that they're looking at? Instagram mostly. Okay, we've got that. And what do you think are their daily spending habits? On an average, if their pocket money is say 3,000 rupees a month, what do you think? Can we go with 100? I don't know. My pocket money was really less, guys. So I think not more than 100, 200 maybe. Okay, let's just go with 100. All right. Pastime activities. Any kind of preferences do you think that they are most focused on? What do you think they are interested in? Gaming, sports, any particular sports that they would be interested in? Anything in particular? Okay, let's just go with cricket. Yeah. Okay. Or for game, let's just have PUBG. Okay. And professional, do you think they're working professionals or they're students? And lastly, students, of course. And what do you think? Which location, which city can we give this person? Can we give a city? Remember, we spoke, it's a tier 2 city. So let's just give any one tier 2 city. Okay. So let's just go ahead and give Jaipur. Okay. Fantastic. So we've just, in a jiffy, we've put together a few very important data points that help us understand within seconds what kind of audience we are truly catering to, right? So now you from the marketing team have to go and speak to the leadership at Chigi, and this is what you will be putting forward to them, right? So you will tell them that your target audience is essentially a guy like Ryan, who's 21 years old. He's studying in a college in Jaipur. He spends around 100 rupees every day on food and snacks, which means that you're majorly targeting men, boys within this region. Tier 2 city, so pricing will have to be competitive. 100 rupees is the average spend every day on snacks. So your menu card will have to again reflect that. So see how it reflects on so many things, right? Products, pricing, placement. Ryan's favorite pastime is on Instagram. So we know that if we want to put out ads, it will be like on a platform like Instagram. And if you want to build a community on social media, it's over here. And if, again, our ads can be targeted towards gaming portals like PUBG. Of course, there's no more PUBG in India right now. I think I'm right. But yeah. And Ryan regularly hangs out at street food joints in the evenings after college. So again, we know from this behavior that we're looking at a restaurant setup where the ambience should be almost like a easy breezy walk in, where he can just come, order, pick up, get out, right? And evenings is where we're going to see most amount of crowd. So perhaps an evening happy hour between 4 to 5, 4 to 6, if we can have a few meals combos set up only for that time, we know we're going to pull in all the crowd over there. Now this is a very simple audience persona that we just developed. The more data points that you collect, right, the more you will understand the buying behavior, and accordingly you will be able to build on the content. And not just the content, you will be affecting the product, the services, and of course the pricing as well. Okay, so that's a little bit about the audience persona. Next, we have a very important aspect. There's so much that I can talk about, this can possibly need a separate session, but knowing how SEO fits into a digital content strategy. Now, very interesting stat. For every click on Google, paid result in Google, there are 11 clicks to organic results, right? Now, why is this important? This is important because all these organic results are a product of the organic content that is being put out. Okay, so the more content you generate as a company, the more you will be able to create touch points for your audience. Now, a great example that I would like to share over here would be something that I did and my team did for my company. Like I said, iSchool Connect sells study abroad as a service. So we understood that students are constantly looking for information, right? And preferably information that's free. So one of the first moves that we made as a company was to have our own blog site, right? So on the blog site, we started building a lot of content, but that was not enough. What was important is to understand what our audience is looking for, right? So we started going through top most frequently asked questions or most frequently asked phrases on Google, started looking at keywords, high volume keywords, low to mid volume keywords, which are highly relevant to our audience and to our services. So once we started curating all of this information, we then went ahead and started working and reworking on our blogs and articles. And with the right choice of topics, I think somebody was even mentioning earlier that choice of topics is extremely relevant. So yes, so we started picking only those topics first where we saw, okay, that are most relevant. So earlier, if we were just writing about universities in general, or maybe other topics, we realized that maybe that's not as important, because one of the most frequently asked questions for students was scholarships for studying abroad. That was a big keyword. Financing for study abroad aspirants, that was another massive keyword. So we started focusing on a lot of finance related topics, and that cascades into other forms of content. So we realized that we need to have workshops around these topics. Oops, let me just quickly put my laptop on charge because I feel it might just go on charge. Give me a second, guys. 1 second. Okay, yeah. So like I was saying, we started, that transcends, that moves into other form of content and media as well. So we started taking these learnings uh, to our workshops, to our Instagram, because we started building content similarly suiting the requirements of that particular channel. And that has really helped us spike our engagement, our reach. I wouldn't be wrong in saying 10x. Okay. All right. I think Gurdeep, if students want, we can definitely do an entire elaborate session again on SEO, because this is truly a massive uh, topic for discussion. Okay, so Vibhav has asked how to do the research. How can I find these keywords for my customer segment? Yeah, that's a really good question. So there are so many ways you can find these keywords, right? The first thing you need to do is there are keyword research plugins that you can add to your Chrome. So what that does is you basically search for a keyword, you look at its volume, okay? And it will tell you, okay, this particular keyword has a monthly volume of 1,000 views or 1,000 searches. And some keywords will be higher than that, maybe 1 lakh searches. And with that, you will understand, okay, is this a valuable keyword? They also will suggest complementary to this particular keyword or phrase that you have typed in to look for the um, particular phrase. They will give you complementary ones with their volume and with their volume and conversion percentages, conversion rates as well. I think keywords everywhere is a fantastic tool that you can definitely look into. Gurtej, sorry, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So that's one thing. And I think there's so many other ways. You can also, of course, look at the search console, which is, of course, a great way to understand which are the topics that are most searched for. You can also look at the best performing keywords. So that is another really great way to evaluate keywords. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Vibhav. All right. So next important thing that is in fact complementary to SEO is to solidify your online authority. Okay, so we have an interesting stat here which says 53% of visitors leave your site if content doesn't load in 3 seconds or less. A lot of companies have observed will put in genuine efforts in putting together good quality content, but it's extremely important to optimize your content as well. What do I mean by optimizing? So just the way you are looking for keywords, you're looking for necessary phrases that people are genuinely looking to find and find information on. You also have to work on making uh, this piece of information easily available. So whether that is in the form of page speed, whether it is other aspects of you know I think within page speed there are multiple aspects, whether your images are again optimized or not. If they're too big, your page will not load fast, and all these factors will eventually impact the speed and the authority. I've put together a few aspects which need to be considered. Simplification of the page, Soma, that's right. The first and foremost set of things is you build an SEO friendly website like we just discussed. You set up a strong presence on social media, and of course you start building all this content. That's the first thing. Second thing is, it's not just about what you put out on your website or your blog site, but it's also how you interact within the fraternity and how you work your PR. Okay, so my next set of suggestions would be with regards to networking with influencers, reaching out for guest posts within the industry, and of course, guest posts on major outlets, right? So I don't know if you guys know this, but there's this fantastic um, tool which a lot of people use in the industry. It's called Haro, right? So help a reporter is what it is. So you essentially what you do is, if you want to write for someone. So for example, uh, you are representing your company, and you are looking at selling, say, fashion, and you're looking for articles wherein you can give your own quote and your own statement. You go to Haro. There are requests which come in from journalists every day. So they are looking for quotes, they are looking for statements from companies, from influencers, and people who want to network. And you put forward your quote, and just like that, you get backlinks and you build your authority. Backlink is basically every time your company gets a do follow link, you can hyperlink your website's name on that particular website where the article will be going, right? So that again helps in building your authority. The better the credibility of the other person's website where the article will be going, the more it will impact your SEO as well, your rankings as well. Okay, so that same thing goes for guest posts. And of course, you reach out to magazines, you reach out to PR, you look at e-media portals that are looking for information. You tell them that your story. This requires a lot of follow-up, I will not lie. uh, but persistently, if you connect with relevant people within the PR and media space, and if you have a genuine story, new fresh update within the industry, they will definitely listen to you and put forward your piece of information in their upcoming read. Are there any considerations around rural versus urban audience? Absolutely. So many considerations have to be made, right? A great understanding of this was given when we were discussing the audience research. So the buying behavior is different. The way they absorb the way they absorb content is very different. And there will be multiple data points which you can compare and observe, and therefore you will have to make those considerations, right? So for example, the way an FMCG product might in fact promote their services within a tier 1 city will be extremely different. They will probably focus on blogging, they will focus on college fests, they will focus on social media, higher, more elite social media like maybe Snapchat or Instagram. But at the same time, when the same company goes into a rural setup, they will probably even switch their channels. So they will probably look at billboards, posters, they will look at newspapers, they will literally transition into a way that their audience can understand them better, right? So I hope that answers your question. Uh, Okay, yeah. There's another question as well that has been asked. I think I'll probably take it up in a while. Okay, so those are few really important aspects of building your, online authority. A lot of, debate has happened around networking and creating awareness via influencers. There is definite value that can be gained out of it. Again, very vast topic in itself, but try and evaluate what you are expecting from the influencer. Set their key performing indicators, right? So set the objectives straight as to what you're wanting them to deliver, whether it is conversion, a conversion of leads, of your services, or you're just looking at awareness in the form of increased followers. So it really depends. If you're looking at them creating an article or a YouTube video within their blog site or YouTube, so there's a whole variety of deliverables that are available out there. It truly depends, again, like I said in the first point, on what your objectives are, basis which you reach out to them and you work it out with them. I'm so happy and seeing all these questions come in. Okay, we'll take all of these questions in a bit. We'll keep sending them in. Okay. So next thing we're going to talk about is creating content the right way. Okay. Now, there are two aspects to this. One is the design and language, and the second is knowing or analyzing your content, right? So for me, both are extremely crucial as a branding expert. Why? Because when you create content efficiently, when it looks its part, it's exactly what your audience wants to see. It is that instant gratification, it's that instant clickbait that happens right there. So there are a lot of tools for each of these components. Okay, so for example, if you're looking at creating content, while most companies will either have an agency to do that or they will have graphic designers, but if you are going to be hands-on and if you want to learn the basics of content design, then I would definitely recommend start off with Canva, learn to alter and edit the templates that are already there. Again, there are a lot of fantastic pieces of information, tutorials available on the internet, lots of hacks that you can follow, which will explain to you the importance of design language, right? So always keep that in mind. It's very important for a company to have its own signature style when it comes to building content, whether it's visual or written, right? So for example, if you I think if you look at Netflix, they have this very witty style of talking to their audience where they literally incorporate their own, shows into their posts, into their ads. And that's one way. There are so many other fantastic ways that people promote. Amul has been, it's been a tombstone case study where literally they have mastered content like nobody else. So again, the moment you see the girl, I forget what she's called, I think the Moppet. The moment you see her, you see a witty line, which is around usually a social cause or, a general knowledge fact, you know that it's Amul. So when you start building content and design in a very signature style, people start getting conditioned and they understand, okay, when I look at this, I know that it is this company. That is the power of good design. Now, that is great, but that's just the first part of the story. The second part of this is to evaluate the analytics of it, right? So there are a variety of tools that are there out there. Of course, the social media, Facebook's insights are available. Instagram's insights are also pretty much clear and available within those tools. But over and beyond, you have to go ahead and understand through the search console, the Google search console, Google Analytics, evaluate how your blogs are performing, for example. So for each of these, there's a lot of insights that you will see. How many clicks did you get? How many people went to your website from that particular blog? All of that will be available. So you'll see that, okay, fine, topic 1, 2, and 3, there was very good, movement from the blog to the website's homepage or to the website's pricing page, for instance. But for a certain topic 4 and 5, it did not do that well. So like that, okay, fine, some topics are more relevant than the other. So you also get to know what you need to work on next. with the use of something like that. Now, I have a homework for you. If it's possible, I want you guys to go ahead and check out this website called Lucky Orange. It's got a quirky name, but tell me yes or no if you already know about this in the chat section. Very interesting tool. Uh, it really takes corporate stalking to the next level. So what this tool does is it helps you evaluate the user behavior on your website. Okay, so once you use the Lucky Orange code for on your website's backend, it will start generating the data, and you can literally see all the hot points, all the cold points on the website. So it's almost like a heat map, right? So it will show you where all your audience engaged the most. So there's this one search bar where people have engaged the most. There is another section which is probably the blog section or a YouTube video section where there aren't as many clicks. So again, it's the analytics that will make you understand this has worked and this has not. So you realize that, okay, fine, this search bar is where people are getting a lot of traction. What if I add an image close to it? Or what if I talk about a workshop through a pop-up form which is placed somewhere close to it? And like that, it might help me in generating more leads. Just a random example, but there can be so much more that you can do with the use of a tool like this, right? There's a lot else that this tool can do as well. Definitely go ahead and check it out. You will be amazed. All right, how many minutes do we have here? 11:47. Wow, we're really running out of time, but we are at the last point, and that is to set a budget and, of course, promote your published pieces and maintain momentum. I think for me, it's not about the content that you create, but it's also about how well you propagate it. A lot of good viral campaigns are viral and are successful because they were propagated correctly. I'm just going to be stepping into a case study, a very short caselet, where we will be talking about this one aspect. So once you create content, it's very important to understand which are the channels you will be using to promote it. And when I say promote, I do not mean paid promotions. I mean organic platforms that are available. So one is, of course, your own assets, right? So suppose you've written a fresh blog, you go ahead and you post about it on your Instagram. You put it on your LinkedIn. You put the link in bio. Similarly, you reciprocate. You do the same on the other social media channels as well, and you don't stop at that. Then you go ahead and you look at discussion forums, right? So there are discussion forums like Quora, like Reddit, and you will observe that people are looking for this information out there. So for example, you are a tourist, you are a tour and travels blogger, right? So you're a travel blogger. You've written an article on 5 best places to see in Goa. You've created a post, you've published it, but you go to the discussion forums on Quora, you'll see there are hundreds of questions around Goa. And your blog actually answers all of them, right? So you answer those questions, and then, if necessary, judiciously, wisely, wherever required, you also put forward the link to this blog. And you will be surprised with how well the information gets propagated. Another really important aspect of propagation of content is to build a community around your service. I think a lot of companies today have realized that hard selling is not going to create conversions. What will create conversions is building a sense of belongingness towards a service or a product. So again, a great example is what we've done with iSchool Connect. Today, we are a community of of lakhs of students, and all of these students are connected with us, and they vouch for the information that we share because they see that we are consistently sharing information with them, right? So that information dissemination is happening. We answer their questions. YouTube comments, we always make sure that all the comments are answered. So many different things that we do in the form of propagation makes them realize that, okay, fine, this is a community I want to be a part of. uh, and this community eventually helps you propagate the information out there, right? So it's but obvious, right? When I really like something, I feel it's genuine, I will go ahead and I will share it with two other friends of mine, right? And that's how things get viral. Those two other friends will go ahead, they genuinely like it, they will share it with many others to come, much like how COVID is spreading today. But that's really the negative example for this scenario. uh, all right, so that's, I think, more or less the key factors. Of course, budget, yes, you will have to take into consideration each of the content activities that you are planning. uh, Planning well in advance, scheduling things will truly help you understand what needs to go out there. I think when you start creating trackers and when you start delegating and giving responsibilities to each particular aspect of that tracker to the different team members or even to yourself, you will be able to plan better. And when you plan better, you will also be able to budget your content creation better, right? For me, content creation will always be strongly backed by organic content and organic marketing. So, organic content and organic propagation. Paid is not going to be, the first preference when it comes to creating content, right? So paid media is great. Yes, you can promote, you can scale, but if the crux of your content is not strong enough, no amount of paid ads will help you reach that level of virality that you are looking for. Okay, so in a nutshell, these are the 6 points that we discussed that will truly help you build that master plan for that solid digital content strategy. Okay, I know there was a lot of information that we shared. I'm going to be looking at the Q&A section right now. We'll answer a few questions as much as we can. In the meantime, I would love to hear from you what you guys feel. One final, I think, caselet that we have for discussion is the Swiggy case study. So once again, uh, let's get typing and talk about this case study. Swiggy, we all are aware of. It's a powerful brand today. Swiggy happened to create 1.5 lakh DMs in 10 days, right? Can you guess what it was that they did? I think a general guess would really help. Do not Google it, please. So what do you think that they did differently suddenly that they got 1.5 lakh DMs on their Instagram? What was it that they did that led to this? Okay, people are really confused. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead for the lack of time. I'm just going to go ahead and show the screen. So Swiggy came up with this fantastic campaign. Okay, it's called "Does Hunger Have a Voice?" Swiggy Voice of Hunger. How many of you remember this? Yes, no, maybe in the chat section, please. Okay, so this was such a powerful campaign where they literally started off with typing in gibberish on Twitter, right? And then they went ahead and people are like confused. Arey, what is this information that Swiggy is sharing? It's literally gibberish that they're typing. And then Swiggy went ahead and said, this is not gibberish. We are giving you uh, five dishes that you have to recreate using the Instagram audio record option. How many of you remember this campaign? It was a very recent campaign. I think it was this year itself. So people went berserk, right? So people went crazy because the options they had given was five options. There was nachos, there was chicken tikka, and there were a few other options. So you have to create through the sound waves. You have to create the shape of that particular food dish. So you have to do it for all five of those, and if you do that, you get 1 year of free food from Swiggy. And everybody loved that offer. So that was a great offer that they put forward in the first place. Second is the ease with which they wanted people to create content and generate it, right? The simplicity of this campaign is truly something that I love. uh, for your audience to revert back to you is very difficult. So for example, let's just take today as an example. I'm talking and I want you guys to reply, but it's obviously going to be difficult for you to chat and reply because we're like, yeah, it's okay, I'm not obliged to reply back. And that's how we always feel as audience, and that's exactly how your audience will make you feel once you are a part of a marketing team. No matter how much effort you put into these competitions and campaigns, it will be extremely difficult to get that desired reward. And with this campaign they did exactly that. It is so minimalist. They literally just ask you to create five of these designs, and just with that they created 1.5 lakh DMs within their inbox in 10 days. Their Instagram following grew by 30,000, and the biggest of brands that you can think of, they participated in uh, this campaign. That is the simplicity of this content. This campaign that was based on content that not just they created, but their audience created with them, right? So that's a very simple case study for you right there. Again, maybe when we have a 2-hour session, if we do, we can probably dissect such cases in greater depth. Okay, I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to discuss. But in the meantime, I'm going to look at the questions that you guys have shared. Where do we have? Okay, so there's only chat section questions, I believe. Okay, let's look at this. Can you tell us about infographic posts for backlinking? So from what I understand, you're talking about infographics that are created to generate backlinks. So there are multiple ways that you can do this. So for example, you've written a blog post on, let's just take the same example, right? 5 best places to visit Goa. You create this blog, but you want to condensify it, and you want to create a simple infographic which can be almost like a snapshot of whatever you've shared. So you place it within the same blog as a first step, right? Now from there, you can propagate this particular infographic into various other platforms, right? The first platform I can think of is WhatsApp, right? So what even we do is we create blogs, and for each blogs we have these custom infographics that we create which talk about one aspect of the blog or condense the whole blog into one, and we push it as a forward onto WhatsApp with a link within the image, and that again gets viral. It catches traction, and it keeps creating backlinks for us. Another way is, of course, to post it on various other portals such as Pinterest, and there's literally so many others where it's mostly image or infographic based. So you put your image there, you put your infographics on these image based platforms. I think even Tumblr is one such platform. You can do the same thing. You can replicate this on platforms like Reddit, there's Quora. And when you put this infographic over there, you put this image-based content over there, it will create a backlink for whatever link you're tagging it to, right? So in this case, it will be tagging it back to that article which you've written on your blog site on Goa. So that's pretty much it's a very basic concept which works around any kind of image, any kind of visual content, static visual content. Okay, what else do we have here? Consideration. Okay, so are there any consideration on content strategy based where the audience is mobile heavy and desktop heavy? Absolutely. So we have a question, which is, are there any considerations on content strategy based on whether the audience is mobile or desktop heavy? So definitely, if you are evaluating that, for this example, let's just say that your audience is mobile heavy, right? They're using their mobiles more than desktops. Now, this is an insight that you can very easily get from Google Analytics, right? So you basically turn your competitions into in a way that can be easily held on the mobile. A great example is this case study from Swiggy, right? They knew that people don't have time to do anything more than this. So they went ahead and they created this simple competition. Of course, design and the elements that you add on the screen will also play a major role. If it's, the dimensions of your screen are converted into mobile, it has to look a lot more reciprocative in that format. A lot of times desktop designs are way more heavy and elaborate. If you feel that your audience is more is a lot more active on their phone screens, then your designs will also have to be optimized to that. So even your website, for this instance, will have to be optimized basis that, right? I think those are few really important aspects when it comes to evaluating mobile heavy or desktop heavy. With today's scenario, I think majority of the businesses are seeing their audience is mobile heavy. I think those are some of the questions that we have today. But if you guys have more questions, you can always reach out to me. You can reach out to Board Infinity. And I think each of us will be very happy to answer them. This was a fantastic session. Thank you so much, Board Infinity, for having me here. I really hope this added some value to you guys. Really looking forward to reading the feedback that you guys have shared in the feedback session, right? So, Gurtej, over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the informative session. And I'm hoping now our participants have very better understanding of digital content. And I personally feel very happy. Like this, the few things I was also not aware. I personally like the session.
Lovely.
And yeah. So, dear participant, this video will be live on our YouTube channel. If you like this video, just reshare with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe the channel as well. Like in the future, we'll be coming up with more live content, and you'll get a notification directly. So, thank you so much for being a lovely audience, and thank you so much, ma'am.
Awesome. I'll take a picture for my gram. And
sure.
Awesome. I think it was really nice. Hoping to be back and talking to all these lovely students here. Thank you so much, guys. We have a person who's raised their hand. Gurtej, are we taking questions over audio as well?
For last, yes, we'll unmute them. Just
yeah. I don't know. Manika.
Ma'am, I guess we don't have any questions, so we can wrap up now.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
I think we
Thank you,
should
ma'am.
go ahead. Thank you so